Hello friends, I'm Laura Barat, a tropical Vedic astrologer and tarot card reader and cards of truth reader. If you're interested in any of those things, please visit my website at laurabaratastrologer.com. Okay, so today I'm talking about Mars in the 8th house. We did Sun, we did Moon, and the next one is Mars. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, right? Okay, so Mars in the 8th house is considered to be a little problematic. It's just it is a rule in Vedic astrology that Mars in the 8th and Venus in the 6th can cause some problems. Mars is the planet of breaking things. Mars breaks things. And the 8th house is a house that also breaks things. It basically ends things very abruptly, the 8th house. And the 8th house is a house of transformation, death and rebirth, and all of those kinds of things. And the 8th house is also the house of battles. And Mars is a planet of battles. So you get too much of that energy when you have Mars in the 8th. That is why it's considered to be problematic. It's the same kind of idea as Venus in the 7th. There's some, sayings about Venus, the Karaka in the house. That's what they call it. Venus in the 7th can cause problems in marriage. Jupiter in the 5th can cause problems with children, or the person doesn't have children. And for the most part, that seems to kind of bear out in my experience, unless those planets are with another planet or they're exceptionally good, meaning they're in their own house or they're exalted or something like that. So, you have to take in consideration everything, like astrology is. But Mars in the 8th is considered problematic. It can make the person accident prone. If you are in the military, it is a really good planet to have. People who have it for destruction purposes, if they fight wars, like generals or politicians who are generals, a Mars in the 8th can cause a lot of destruction. For example, Adolf Hitler has the Mars in the 8th house. John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy both had Mars in the 8th house. The current French president, Emmanuel Macron, has Mars in the 8th house. And when I'm talking about Mars in the 8th, this is equal sign, equal house. So Mars in the 8th sign. You've also got the cusps, the house cusps, and they can or cannot be in the same sign, but I'm talking totally about equal sign, equal house here. So that's one aspect of Vedic astrology that we use, and you can also use that in Western astrology if you're a Western astrologer, okay? So Mars ends things abruptly. Mars breaks things. Mars can break your body. Mars can break your car. Mars can break things in your house. Mars can break your relationship, either in transit or, the Mahadasha. Mars will get a lot of frustration and anger. And I'm not saying that every time Mars hits an identity factor or Mars hits something that represents your relationship that it's going to end or break it, because it doesn't. You have to have everything lined up, of course, and being an Antardasha as well, or, you have to have several things. But Mars can push that over the edge if when he's transiting certain things that represent, whatever it is that he's going to break or harm or cause frustration to, okay? And then the 8th house does that as well. The 8th house is very much a house of abrupt endings, transformation. People who have a lot of identity factors in their 8th house usually go through massive transformations during their life. They live in several different places. They have several different jobs. And usually when they end something, like a part of their life, and move to a different locale, that is, it's over. They never can go back to the way it was. Okay? So that's what the 8th house does. And then another thing about Mars is a logical planet. Mars actually rules logic. And he's very unemotional. He's not emotional at all. He likes to fix things. Mars is rush in and fix things as fast as possible. That's what he does. And he's the general. And then in the Vedic myths of Mars, Mars was born from the earth, and that's why he rules things of the earth. He rules gems and minerals and things like that, and mining. And also Mars is a Brahmin. He doesn't have any parents, and he doesn't have a consort. So he's an orphan and a Brahmin. So a powerful Mars in a chart, and a Mars in the 8th house, this is a good thing about Mars in the 8th if you're not in the military, or you're not designed to cause destruction. Mars in the 8th is good for brahmacharya, or becoming a monk, or leading a spiritual life. And Mars in the 8th is also good for surgeons, because Mars is cutting things away, getting rid of it and cutting it off. And that's what the 8th house does too. So that's another good thing about Mars in the 8th. But what I was getting at was Mars is logic. And the 8th house is a house of deep psychological transformation. The 8th house is a house of yoga, of practicing a spiritual practice, or a psychological practice, a psychotherapy and all that kind of thing. And really kind of trying to become a better person through these practices, trying to let go of anger and resentment and blaming and all of that stuff. But see, Mars is logical. He doesn't understand the deep emotional pain, and he's just not part of that. All he wants to do is find a quick fix. And the 8th house is not a quick fix. Okay, it takes a lot of work. It takes many years. It's the second in the trine of the moksha trine, or the enlightenment trine, the water houses. And it's, a really big step in letting go of the ego, and letting go of resentment and jealousy and all of that, right? So a person with Mars in the 8th may get frustrated with some of the inner work of the 8th house and want a quick fix. So they can turn to addictions, and which is another kind of 8th house thing, along with a Venus and 2nd house thing, because they want to quickly fix some of their deep emotional pain, which is the 8th house. And so, yeah, that's like, for example, Charles Bukowski. He's a writer, a very famous writer that lived in LA. They made that movie Barfly about Charles Bukowski, and a couple other movies, one with Matt Dillon. I forgot the name of it now, but basically, just hanging out in bars and getting drunk all day. And then, and then he was a writer too. He's a really fantastic writer, but he was addicted. He was an alcoholic, and then he also beat his wife, and so and got into barroom brawls and stuff. So that's one example. But he had Rahu and Mars together, so that even made it worse. Rahu tends to explode out that energy of whatever planet he's with, and Mars and Rahu are kind of a tricky combination for temper tantrums. So yeah, that's Mars in the one aspect of Mars in the 8th. And then they can get really frustrated and with their emotions and lash out. So yeah, it's good for politicians who are in wartime. It's good for military people. It's good for anything that needs to be destroyed. Any kind of chemical waste, getting rid of chemical waste, getting rid of garbage, things that need to be destroyed. Mars in the 8th is good for that. Things that need to be cut away, surgeons, right? So yeah, that's a good thing about Mars. And then, another person that has Mars in the 8th is Henry Miller. He also has another really great writer. He has Mars in the 8th with the moon. And, he's a very sexual writer, wrote about sex a lot, and he slept with all these different women. But, he was a good writer, and had really good stories, and they made a couple movies about that too. So, that's one aspect of Mars in the 8th. And then, let's see what else here. Oh, in Mars in the 8th, okay, so the 8th house is a house of bonding. It's trusting other people. And if Mars is well disposed, like if Mars is in a sign of Aries, or Scorpio, or his own signs, or he's in Leo, or he's in Capricorn, or Jupiter signs, then he's doing well. He's performing well. So making a bond with somebody, these people are probably really too quick to trust people. They bond really quickly, or they don't bond at all. They're very sexually promiscuous and just kind of want to sleep around, and they don't bond very well. Depending on how well Mars is disposed, if he's conjunct Saturn, that can cause some problems, Mercury, that can cause some problems. Mars and Mercury together cause a very argumentative, opinionated person. So, these people like to argue just for arguing's sake. They like to debate. They're good debaters, but they'll just continue on. That 8th house is that strong emotional bond, and they may try to break it with too many debates over nothing, right? So, that's kind of how Mars operates in the 8th house, and just keep in mind, it's an aspect of the personality. Mars is he's logic, he's the general. He wants to fix things immediately. He wants to battle. The person may be too quick to battle when Mars is in the 8th, because the 8th is the house of battles. Oh, and another thing, Mars in the 8th, you can inherit real estate or mining company or gems, jewelry, very valuable jewelry. If you have Mars in the 8th house, Mars rules all those things. Mars rules real estate, land, buildings, that kind of thing. So if you have Mars in the 8th, that's another good thing, that you can inherit those things, right? And, if Mars is well disposed in the 8th, it can make a person wealthy through their spouse. Their spouse has a lot to bring to the table, because the 8th house is the house of the spouse's resources and the public's resources that benefit you. So your spouse can have a lot of land, or, you inherit land, or you get land, you get other people's money or gems, precious stones, things like that, okay? So, and unless, like I've said, Mars is a part of the personality. It's our logical mind. It's our logical side. It's the side that we use to rush into action and fix a problem right away. So unless Mars is an identity factor, that 8th house energy is unique to that part of our personality. Okay, it's not as psychologically transforming as having the moon in the 8th house or the sun in the 8th house. So unless he's, the ascendant lord or the Atmakaraka or something like that. Okay, so that's Mars in the 8th, and the next video will be on Mercury in the 8th house. And thanks for watching. Bye.